I would say it's very, very unlikely that AI is going to outsource all software engineers, because even when you're using the AI, it's going to spit out code that is good and that you can use. You're still going to have to tweak it. You have to find the problems with it. You have to know what to tell it.
You have to know where to find the problem. And plus, engineers, and in the tech industry, you're always learning.
Yeah.
Exactly, so it never stops. There's always something new. So I feel like if you're scared that AI is going to take your job, it's because you stopped learning.
That's exactly it.
In my life, I learned that success is not measured by wealth or status, but by the impact we have on others. It's the small acts of kindness, the genuine connections we make that leave a lasting impression. I've learned that adversity is the teacher in disguise. It builds strength, character, and resilience. And here at Mindz, our mission is to inspire young entrepreneurs and share valuable conversations to the world about business. So join us in this amazing journey to inspire others to pursue their dreams.
Okay, so we're here with Torre Locascio, the founder of Archetype Tech School. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. So I think what you're doing is really cool. We were talking a little bit just now, and let's start with a little bit about your early upbringing. So, where you're from, and then your schooling, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So I'm from Naples originally. I grew up here, went to high school at the Community School of Naples. I went to college over in Miami where I studied finance. I got a job in finance, selling commercial banking services. I did that for about 4 years over on the East Coast, and sort of had a calling that I kind of knew I wanted to get into technology in some way or form. And, I was just one of those people who always was, thinking about how some mobile application was doing their business, how it could be better. Always, bouncing ideas off friends. Hey, this could be improved this way. And so I thought if I could turn that into some kind of career, I could be pretty good at it and also really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So
what year was that?
This was about 2017.
2017.
Yeah, 2017. And I think I was getting a little tired of the sales grind as well, selling commercial banking services. So combined with those two things, I was looking for a way to break into tech. And I found a software bootcamp over in Miami. It was a 10-week full-time course where you walk into the class and you might not have any skills in technology or software engineering, and you walk out with the ability to land a job as an entry-level software engineer. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. I said, what the hell, let me give it a shot. I did it, really enjoyed it, graduated the course, and ended up getting my first job as a software engineer about 3 months after graduating the course. And then fast forward till today, I've been doing that since, working as a software engineer. I've even taught my own software bootcamp online for another company. Mm-hmm. And now I'm here today opening up my own software engineering bootcamp here in Naples. And yeah, that's how I kind of
nice. And
today.
These bootcamps, they really give you the hands-on learning skills, right? For software engineering. Like I know we were talking about school, going for so long to school, right? For let's say 4 or 5 years to be a software engineer, but then you're learning a lot of other things as well. That's why that time period is a little longer.
Yeah.
So with these boot camps, it's almost like, is it accelerated learning, but you're learning what you need to learn for software engineering?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's an extremely focused and niche teaching process for the length of the course. A university will take 4 years because you're taking electives, you're taking more general computer science classes, trying to understand the theory behind computer science, a little bit of the history of it. You learn a lot of things that aren't necessarily applicable for being a software engineer.
Right.
I would say that stuff does help you. It allows you to understand things from a more global perspective. But as far as getting landing a job as a software engineer, it's really a matter of focusing on the existing tools that are there for software engineers, learning how to use them, learning how to think in coding terms, and building projects. And you can really do that in a short period of time compared to university. So you're prepared to actually bring value to that company that wants to hire you after the graduation. Yeah. So
what are some companies that when somebody goes and does Archetype bootcamp with you guys, what are some of the companies and roles that they can apply for?
It's a good question. So I would say there's a few different areas of software engineering you could potentially apply into. So you have the typical software engineer who builds the software that a company has or needs for their operations. You've got like software engineering testers. So we call that like QA and testing. So you really just knock on the software as much as you can, try to break it, clicking around, writing tests to make sure everything is working properly with the new features. I would say that's another area. So like testing, even like product management, you can go into. So, for every, software company, they have product managers that sort of guide the engineers, work with marketing, and kind of combine the two together so that the product being built fits what the company needs. So you've got product managers, project managers, which is a little bit more like detail oriented with deadlines and managing the software engineers. And then even something like tech sales or tech recruiting. I mean, if you get a background in understanding how to build software, you can also sell it properly. And, you could be like a technical sales engineer, for example. Yeah. So, there's definitely a wide array of roles that you could potentially get into from doing one of these boot camps. Yeah.
When you were in banking, what commercial products were you selling?
Yeah, so it was, banking services. So payments out, payments in, loan products, some insurance products, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
fellow PNC.
No, I used to be in banking. Yeah, I was in finance for some time.
Okay, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is super interesting, this business that you guys are launching, because I would assume that now there's so much demand, right, for software engineers.
Yeah.
Especially with all the e-commerce businesses and websites and things like that, because software engineers are also working on e-com sites as well.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So, you have e-commerce sites you mentioned, right? So like, a lot of them are built on WordPress or Shopify, right? A lot of those times those sites need to be customized to do certain things. And so you'd be hiring a software engineer to make those customizations for you. Even like designers or, UX, UI specialists, it all kind of falls closely to the umbrella of software engineering. You have to really build a good product technically and visually appealing. And so there's really a lot of different avenues you can go. Yeah.
Yeah. They're really the ones that customize like what you can do.
Right.
Like in WordPress, you need certain what do you say, like components?
Yeah, like plugins would be WordPress. Yep.
Yeah. So they build them for other people to design the website. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that right now with the boom of digital, it's like if anybody's ever had a thought like I want to switch or digital seems interesting, this is something that for sure has to catch your attention, because the tech school. So Archetype, how long is the duration of the bootcamp for?
Yeah, so we're going to be launching January 11th here in Naples. The course lasts about 17 weeks. It's considered a part-time course, so you can still have a full-time job or go to school on the side if you wanted to. You'd be pretty busy, but it's definitely doable. And the class lasts 17 weeks, so we do 2 days online, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then every other Saturday is going to be a long in-person class for about 8 hours. We're hosting that at VentureX right here in Naples. We've rented out the whole top floor on those Saturdays. So it really is a great environment to learn how to build software. It feels
like you're coding. Are you coding?
Yeah,
like hackathons.
Yeah. You're going to be coding. You're going to be building stuff. A lot of the curriculum is project based, so you'll be required to build 2 or 3 projects throughout the course, which are going to be fully functioning, working pieces of software and websites that you can have on your portfolio when you start applying for jobs. And then I would say the biggest thing is you're going to get an understanding of how to learn how to build software, right? So like how to learn to do it. So when the course is over, you're going to continue your journey, continuing to better yourself, learning more skills in order to build better software. Because, for someone who doesn't have any experience in software, I would say the toughest thing is just getting started. Like, how do I even begin? What tutorial do I do? Am I going to be wasting my time?
Right.
And so you're going to be really confident in your ability to just continuing to grow your skills in the space. So that's probably the biggest thing you're going to learn.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the type of learning that at least catches my attention, when it's very...
You've got to do it, right?
Yeah.
You can't just sit there in front of a lecture. I mean, I know when I was in college, a lot of the stuff just went right by me, or I memorized it and it, left my brain the next week because you weren't building with it, you weren't using it actively. And so that really is the best way to learn in software as well.
Do you think when you learn coding, you see things different?
Yeah, definitely. Right. Anything, when you're using a site and
you analyze everything.
You analyze, how did they do this? This isn't working exactly the way I thought it was going to. How did they miss that? Right. That's not how I would have done it. Those are all the thoughts that sort of go through your head.
And since you learned coding, has it changed your perception on even people? On how do you, conversations and when you meet somebody?
I would say a little bit less about, with the people you meet, and more just it changes your perception of how businesses are run, how things work, what makes some companies successful, right?
Yeah.
You can really see when it's a good piece of software and you understand that's the reason why a company may be successful. Before you would just think, oh, that company's successful because it is. And so now you can see, that piece of software is really good. Like I did a fantasy football draft last night. We used the new app called Sleepers. The typical fantasy apps are like Yahoo Fantasy Sports or ESPN. And we decided to go with the new one because they had all of these new features and things we could do. And we all were on a Zoom call kind of talking about it, like, wow, this draft dashboard is fantastic. It's like, you can easily see the players you've drafted, the details about them. You can easily see what you need next. And it was just like, a great experience to draft in that platform. And this is a company that has grown really fast, has taken a lot of market share from some of the bigger ones like ESPN and Yahoo. And we were sitting there just enjoying the software that was built for it. So from that point of view, you definitely start to see things a little differently.
Yeah. For someone that has never touched, or code at all, how long do you think it will take them for them to be able to build something?
I would say the extent of the boot camp. So for our case, it's part-time, 17 weeks. If you wanted to do it full-time, and there are full-time boot camps out there that exist, you could probably do it in 10, 11, or 12 weeks. So you could start to build things that you actually want to use.
Yeah.
But in your boot camp, doing your boot camp, you said it's 17 weeks,
17,
right?
Yep.
17 weeks. People are going to leave confident to be able to have the tools to build things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What I really like is that you're kind of a product of this whole thing, right? Like you did a boot camp and now you work in you're a software engineer. This is what you're doing for a living, correct?
Yeah, correct. It worked for me back in 2018. Taught a boot camp as well last year. Now continuing to work in the space as an engineer.
Yeah. And why did you decide to, is there any particular reason why you decided to launch this here in Naples?
It's a good question. So I just moved back to Naples a couple years ago. I was part of some of the 2020 COVID movers to Florida, but it was just the East Coast to the West Coast of Florida. And I taught a boot camp last year, and that kind of opened my eyes to, think, maybe this would be a good idea to do in Naples. Naples has grown so much. There's not another service like this that exists. Fort Myers, Naples, nothing. I just thought between the growth of Naples, it's become a much younger city as well lately, and seeing the students of my last class graduate and go on to their tech careers, I just thought it could be something that would work here.
Yeah. 100%. There's so much demand for what he does.
Yeah. And
everywhere. But, here in Naples, because it's a little bit behind on a lot of things.
Yep, for sure.
And this is definitely a smart move for people that want to, let's say, elevate what they're doing. Like, because if you go, I don't know, just as an example, right? If somebody wants to elevate their income, this is a way to do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
From what they're, That's why there's so much demand for it, right? It brings you so much value, like the skill set that you learn as a person, it gives you so much value. What's the goal after, because you said 17 weeks, first one's January 11th, right? So of 25, is the goal to squeeze in a couple more during next year, or what are the goals looking like?
Yeah, that's definitely the plan. So we wanted to sort of stagger the courses, one starting in January. All goes well. The next course will probably start in August. We kind of wanted to align it with the school year, so that juniors and seniors in high school even would have this opportunity available to them. Maybe they want to start working on the side, building websites. Maybe they want to just get a leg up before they go to college, and then continue to work on those skills once they get there. Or even a university student who's here in Naples or FGCU, let's say, who wants to take the course and be more prepared for when they're ready for jobs. We wanted to stagger it along with the school year, basically. And so that's the plan, have one in January and then one in August, assuming all goes well. Yeah.
Are you the one building right now, or you have more people on your team?
So it's me and one other person on our team, my wife Chantal. She does a lot of the marketing, and I'm more of the curriculum. I'm going to be teaching the course, obviously, and then we're also going to be hiring probably a couple teaching assistants as well. When the students start learning this stuff, there's going to be a little bit of like homework and things they have to do on their own time. They're going to have the ability to leverage their teaching assistants to help them get through whatever they're trying to build. So that's probably going to be the extent of the team for this first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you currently building as a like offering your services as a freelancer, or how are you currently, coding?
Yeah, so I work for a company called Real Token.
Okay.
We take investment in real estate. We tokenize it. We put it on the Ethereum blockchain. We allow anyone in the world, except for the U.S., ironically, because there's laws and regulations here, but anyone else in the world to invest in this real estate and collect their monthly income all on the blockchain. And so we've got investors all around the world. We've sold about $100 million in real estate. We're actively managing those properties and giving our customers their deserved rents based on their ownership. And so I help build the software that runs all of that, basically. So the initial sale of the real estate, the operations after, who
So it's a
owes
real
what.
estate platform selling on crypto?
Yeah. So you can buy using a credit card or, using some other cryptocurrency. And then you collect your rent in cryptocurrency as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's like a whole different, we could do a whole episode just on that. That's how interesting that stuff
I'd be happy to come back.
Weren't they selling properties already in the U.S.?
So all of the properties are in the U.S., but our investors are all international.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we do a lot of property in I would say like Chicago, different parts of Detroit. And these are typically high cap rate real estate areas. So you get a good rental return based on your investment. A lot of the prices in those cities have been beaten down a little bit. So it makes them more attractive investments, especially if you're an international investor, you want to just your yield coming back.
Yeah.
And so a lot of our properties are in Chicago, Detroit, parts of Ohio, and things like that. So, yeah.
Can people already sign up for the boot camp?
Yes. So we have a website. We have a couple different forms on there where you can basically, give us your information. Once you pay a deposit, you reserve your spot. And then once the boot camp start, we would require the rest of the payment. But yeah, everything is on our website, archetypebootcamp.com. You can put your information there and start the process basically whenever you are ready to.
Yeah. No, I love that. And who would you say, in your opinion, who would you say this is perfect boot camp for?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I would say there's probably like 2 or 3 different groups of people, right? So one would be someone who's unhappy in their current career, doing something, feels like they're not passionate about it, but maybe they might be interested in tech. That would be a great candidate for it, right? So someone looking to make a career switch. I would say a junior or senior in high school who is interested in tech, maybe is on their robotics team at their school or something like that. And, they want to learn how to actually build software that, maybe they can do a little side business or want to get a leg up before they go to college. That would be another great candidate. And then I would say even like existing like product managers, project managers, if you kind of want to like pivot your career a little bit more into tech, maybe you don't want to be a software engineer per se. Maybe you're doing product management for, some energy drink or something like that, but you want to do a product management for a tech company. This would be also a great way to make that pivot.
Got it. Yeah. No, I love that. And is there anything that you'd like to mention that we, haven't covered on in the conversation so far?
Yeah, I think so. So I would just give a couple challenges, with doing this boot camp. A couple of the concerns that our existing enrollees had before we talk to them. We hear a couple of different things, right? Like one, we hear that AI is going to replace all software engineers. Like we're pretty concerned about that. I don't want to make this big investment with this looming apocalypse of, outsourcing jobs to AI, right? And my response to that is, well, in software engineering for the last 30 years, there have been tools that have been built that have made software engineers a lot more productive.
Right.
Like every year, there's always somebody building and releasing something that makes us more productive as software engineers. And all that has done is increase the possibilities of what you can build in a shorter amount of time. And look where we are today. There's software for everything, right? So what AI is also going to do is just make software engineers much more productive, right? I'm already using it. Part of the curriculum is going to be how to leverage AI as you're coding to become much faster. And I can tell you it's made me much more productive as a software engineer. And so that's going to be a skill in itself. Is you're going to be writing code, you're going to be prompting AI to either fix things or give you another way of doing it. It's just going to make you more productive. And so really the possibilities are endless for what software can be built in a shorter amount of time. And for sure. So it's going to eliminate those lower level tasks that, the research, like, before, some of these AI tools existed, right? A typical process that you would have as a software engineer to solve a problem is, okay, here's a problem. I got to go research Google on how this is fixable or how to do this in this language. And that might take you, an hour to do that. You just prompt AI properly, explain the problem properly, and it's going to give you a direction to go and how to solve the problem. And so immediately for some things, it saves you so much time. Then there's some things that it really doesn't help at all, or it makes it worse, or you're going to end up spending more time fixing what they did or what they broke. So, managing your relationship with these tools is a skill in itself. And it's something that we're going to be teaching in our curriculum as well, is how to leverage these tools so you can really build software much more efficiently, make it with less bugs, make it work properly. And so we see it as an opportunity more than, something that is detrimental to the industry.
Right.
So
that's awesome that you guys are actually going to teach how to leverage AI too.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very modern boot camp then.
Yeah, for sure. Because really in the last year or so, it's made huge strides, right? 2020 or before, no one was really using it or talking about it much. And then kind of out of nowhere, it's really changed how things are done. And so I would say that's also a advantage to one of these software boot camps, is that they can be nimble in their curriculum. They can change and adjust to the times of what's really important to get a job. A university degree, good luck getting them to change their curriculum from one year to the next, right? There's like a whole process. The books need to be printed, the curriculum, things need to get approved. We're much more nimble in a software bootcamp, so we can stay with the times much faster and prepare you for what's available.
So you're building for real estate, right?
Yeah, currently,
yeah, but you can build for anything pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And would you take jobs from anybody that needs software, or
like currently you're saying as like a side hustle? I would take on. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna be pretty busy with the boot camp now, but I mean, if opportunities came across my desk, I would probably find a way to take on the job. Maybe hire some of my connections I've made in software and sort of manage the project from sort of an overseeing state. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely something interesting, and especially for some of the bootcamp graduates. If I can be getting business and getting projects that I can sort of guide them to build and outsource when they're done with the bootcamp, that could also be a great way to get their foot in the door of building software for clients that are paying clients. And just the experience you get from that is really, really valuable.
Now, building a website, it's one thing. You have a budget, right? But when it comes to software development, what do you think a company's like budget should be to kind of go with an engineer? Yeah,
it's a good question. So it definitely depends on the problem you're trying to solve and how impactful it is for your business, right? There could be $1 million problems that you're trying to solve, and so obviously the budget's going to be huge for solving that problem if it's going to help your business and move the bottom line. Are you asking more like maybe salaries for entry level developers, or like
maybe like let's say a restaurant, right? They want to build their own software, they want to keep everything in house, and they just want to build their own platform,
right? Okay,
just a restaurant.
Yeah, so you can definitely go that route in building something completely from scratch. But I will say part of your job as a software engineer is finding the existing tools and platforms that exist and customizing them so that they work for your particular needs. So if you're a restaurant today and you want, online ordering, you want, tracking of your visitors or tracking of your customers, some type of loyalty program or whatever it may be, there's definitely software that exists for it.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to reinvent the wheel.
You don't want to reinvent the wheel,
okay,
right?
I see.
And so that would probably be the first step, is figuring out, okay, what exists out there today? Does it fit our needs? And can we customize it so that we can do it for, a quarter of the cost, a tenth of the cost, and will it actually fit our needs that we're looking for? And so that's usually the first step when there's a problem to solve, is figuring out what exists there today. Can it be customized, or do I have to just build completely from scratch?
Makes sense.
That's a process, and that's part of the value a software engineer will bring to your company. You don't just want to be like an order taker, right? Here are the instructions: go do this, go code this, right? You want to think about the problem holistically. What is the fastest, most efficient way we can get this done?
And does it make sense to build it from scratch when we already have it?
For sure.
Yeah. Cost will be a big thing.
Yeah. Cost versus the value it's going to bring. Right. So I would say the role as a software engineer is much larger than just, sit in front of your computer for 8 hours and coding, right? And just hacking away at things.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really about being a problem solver, being a product person, thinking about the business as a whole, what makes sense for the business. And then once the problem is there, how can we solve this? And it's really just like one big logic problem or like puzzle that you have to brainstorm about and figure out the best way to solve it. And then, you start building it. And even at that point, your thought process is going to change. You might have to tweak something. Oh, I discovered X, Y, Z while building this. We're going to have to sort of pivot of what we're currently building. And so it's this constant, development of improving what you're trying to build, maybe pivoting a little bit and going from there. So yeah, the role is exciting. It's not just sitting in front of a computer 8 hours a day. It's talking to people. It's figuring out what's important for the business, how to solve the problem. So it's a really rewarding career if you go down this path.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Super interesting.
Yeah. Well, Torre, I mean, Definitely. I feel like we could sit here for hours and have a conversation, but I do want to say that what you're doing, I think there's a lot of demand for it. And those 3 groups of people, like you said, that like you explained earlier, it's perfect that you're doing it here, right, in Naples. So if anybody's had this in mind or wanted to make a pivot or just add on more value to what they do or just their person in general, I think that checking out your website, right, Archetype,
archetypebootcamp.com,
archetypebootcamp.com, definitely have to go check that out. And if it's of interest to people checking it out, sign up, right?
Yeah, sign up, fill out the form. We'll definitely get in contact you within 24 hours, and we can discuss you enrolling and what you want out of it. I think that's really important, is to lay that all out before someone commits to the 17 weeks, understand why they want to do it. And if it aligns, then of course, go for it. If you're motivated to do it, it'll be worth your time.
Yeah.
What is the cost for that, or you want them to just find out on the website?
Yeah, no, it's fine. So it's a $10,000 course. Okay. We have a little discount running for the early students that are enrolling. Mm-hmm. But if you look at a lot of the boot camps that exist currently, they're $12,000, $14,000, and most of them are all online nowadays. Mm-hmm. Ever since COVID, there aren't very many in-person software boot camps. So with us, you're going to get that in-person experience at Venture X, a beautiful place.
Yeah, beautiful spot.
Great learning environment. You're going to feel motivated with your other students that are in the class building projects together. It's going to be a really collaborative environment. Mm-hmm. And then even our cost is a little bit lower than the existing ones. So, it's definitely an investment for people, but, it's education. How much would somebody spend in a university, right? With the time they spend in the university. So when you look at it from that perspective of, it's going to help me get a job. What are the other options to break into tech? It's pretty affordable and efficient to break into it at that cost.
About how many people do you guys want to stay around a certain limit?
We want to definitely stay less than 20.
Less than 20.
Yeah. So the space we have is like really comfortable for that. So less than 20. And then we would have a couple teaching assistants. I would say somewhere between 10 and 20 is kind of our sweet spot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Love it. And I'm definitely looking forward to the growth of
for sure,
of the business that you guys are launching. I think it's a great business and much needed, and a lot of demand for it. So
yeah, absolutely.
And I do want to say, thank you for your time today and being able to share a little bit of information about what you guys are doing. And we appreciate it. And hopefully, anybody who's watching who's been interested in getting into tech or digital in general, and just this is definitely an option, go check out the website.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.